The Perseus Q&A came out today, and it seems to have upset a fair few people. I'm going to go against the grain and suggest it's a step in the right direction. So if you'd be interested in the perspective of someone who spent almost 12 years stood on the bridge of warships in the real world about what this means for the future of fleets in Star Citizen, this one's for you. The Perseus was announced a few weeks ago as a concept sail, and it's basically a fleet brawler. It's 100 metres long, 3 decks, carries 6 crew, and it's got a fairly powerful armament, the headlines of which are 20 size 5 torpedoes and 2 massive man turrets that each have 2 size 7 ballistic cannons. The updates were fairly brief, but this is what they covered. Those size 7 guns are ballistics with customisable ammo, so I guess maybe high explosive armour piercing versus saber rounds or something like that. It's at the concept stage, not yet in development, and it's going to be tougher, i.e. more armoured than ships its size, but it won't be as tough as a capital ship. The size 7s are intended to be effective against all large size ships, and it won't have medical or troop carrying facilities at all. The pilot will have control over the torpedoes, all the other weapon systems will be controlled by the crew, and it's not designed to ram. That really cool picture of it going through the hammerhead, that was after it blew the hammerhead up, not cutting it in half with the bow. It's going to operate like other civilian variants of military vessels, which is pretty much the components won't be quite as high quality, and its main weakness are going to be swarms of fighters, because those big turrets just won't turn quickly enough to deal with them. All the complaints that I've seen tend to revolve around 3 of these points. The first one, that the guns are ballistic, so they're going to have to carry ammo. There's going to be physical need for it. It's not like lasers where they can just draw from the power plant for as long as they like. They're going to need to rearm at some point. The second point is that it won't have medical or troop carrying facilities, so what are we supposed to do about medical gameplay? How are we supposed to enact boardings and stuff like that? And the third one is, well, it seems to be really weak against fighters. That seems to be a bit of a problem. Put another way, the complaints are basically that it doesn't seem to be able to do everything. There are notable weaknesses, there are situations where it's just not going to do well. And here's where it gets controversial. I'm glad it's not a multi-purpose vessel. I get why people will be disappointed. It's a gorgeous looking ship. It looks like it just wants to hurt stuff. You know, it's the psycho sat down at the end of the bar waiting to punch someone in the face. It's an amazing looking ship. I'm jealous that I don't have one. If anyone wants to give me one, give me a shout. I really need this ship. But seriously, think about modern navies and the way that they kind of put together. Think about any news footage you've seen about a fleet. They're not all the same size. They're not all the same ship. It's because different ships have different purposes, and some of those purposes don't work together. Right? If you're an anti-submarine ship, you need quietness as well as speed. You need to be able to get yourself into a position to be able to attack the submarine or get out of its way. If you're an aircraft carrier, you need space for all those facilities. If you're an amphibious assault ship, you need space for all of the marines or the vehicles that are going to get them ashore. Space to repair, rearm, refuel those vehicles. You need space for all the stuff you need to do those things. That is not then conducive with going hunting submarines, right? You might as well try to be stealth running around with a drum kit on your chest and one of those cymbals and a squeaky horn stuck to your nose. Everyone's going to know where you are. You can't have one ship doing all things. That's why fleet gameplay in SC is so interesting. If they continue down this route of giving you ships that do one thing very, very well and other things okay, and then there's some things you just go, nope, don't take that ship for that, it's going to encourage combined gameplay. The Perseus will be thinking, right, where's my nearest anti-fighter support? Do I have a hammerhead to support me? Do I need to get a wing of fighters launched from the carrier? Can I afford to do this? Splitting up your fleet to do different things. Right, well, we're going to split up the fleet. One side's going to go this way, one side's going to go that way. It's now very, very tactical decisions by whoever's in charge of the fleet. Who you send with who. How do I keep my support vessels out of the way? You don't need to go and rearm when you've got a fleet support vessel who has weaponry on board. You don't need the medical facilities when you've got an Endeavour with massive medical facilities in the fleet. They are right there for you. This is the point of a fleet. A group of combined units that each do their allocated task really, really well, who work together to offset the weaknesses of the other ships. So come out of Star Citizen for a second, just think about games in general. Games are designed to have one person do most of the roles. There are games that rely on team gameplay, but A, that's not all they rely on. There's lots of stuff you can do solo. And B, if you look at games like Hell Let Loose, it's a World War II game. The tanks in that, you have a driver, a gunner, and a commander. The driver can only see out of his tiny little vision forward. The gunner can only see out of his gun seat. There's no third-person view. The only person that's got the all-round view is the commander. It requires coordination. As a result, there are lots and lots of tanks being played in Hell Let Loose at the moment that aren't doing very well because people think that they can do them on their own, and they just can't. No disrespect, but they suck. It's a big gameplay shift. It's a big difference to games that are out there at the moment. If Star Citizen is developed the way that we hope it's going to go, if they deliver on what they've been promising us, we're going to have to get used to this. They're going to be ships you go, yeah, that's amazing. Oh, crap, I need 9 friends to be able to make that viable. Or, Jesus, it's not just about getting that ship. It's now about finding an organisation where I'm going to have support. I'm going to have help to call on. I'm going to have the fuel to let me do the long-range stuff. Whatever it is, it's a massive departure from what we've been used to. I'm really looking forward to using my naval background and knowledge to really bring in a unique perspective to SE, especially with fleet combat, especially with things like the Perseus that are dividing the community. I kind of want to bring that aspect of saying, hey, this is okay, look, this in the real world, this makes sense. So it's doing good things for Star Citizen. Let me know what you think, though. I hope it's been informative. I hope it's been interesting for you. Let me know what you think. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. See you soon.